We're at the nuke yard today. We're not building quilt boards, but we're going to explain how they're made. And Bryan Bender is here to show us how to do it. Go for it.
Okay, hey everyone, it's Bryan. So normally I just make a box. I think it's about 5 or 6 inches tall, and then I just rip it down so there's a 1.5 inch feeder shim underneath. Staple screen onto it, and then reaffix the feeder shim with screws going all the way through. And then we have vent holes drilled on the side with screening on the inside to keep the bugs from getting in and making a home in the quilt.
Right.
And then we take this, we add cedar chips to it, just like that, just like you're insulating your attic.
And you're using cedar chips because it helps to sort of dissuade bugs?
Well, the cedar doesn't get moldy. I've noticed I've used pine before and it would just get really moldy when it gets wet. So the cedar will still get wet, but it won't get moldy. And you can use these cedar chips. I mean, we've been using them for probably 5 years, the same chips.
Okay.
And then that's it. You just put it on top of the inner cover.
Okay.
And lid on top of that.
Okay.
And it just absorbs moisture and keeps a little bit of heat in.
And you can sort of, like, I call it fluffing the cedar chips, throughout the winter. I just sort of open the top a little bit on a warmish day and just sort of fluff them around so that it sort of helps to dry them out a little bit, or not?
I mean, I don't really
mess
with it, because you'll notice when you take the lid off that this top will be frozen, because all the condensation, all the moisture will go through the chips and condense on the cold side of the chips and then freeze. So you'll see like frost on the top there, but then once it warms up, it'll just go out the vent holes.
Okay.
It's mainly just there to keep the condensation from dripping down onto the cluster.
Okay. And then underneath you put the sugar bricks?
Yeah, so you can lift these up, put sugar bricks on top of the inner cover, and then you still have this 1.5 inch spacer. Okay. So the screen doesn't touch.
And you put the sugar brick over top of the hole of the inner cover. So.
Yeah, it just helps so the bees don't fly into your face.
Right, okay.
In the winter.
One year I put the sugar bricks right on top of the top frame and put the inner cover up on top of the quilt box.
Yeah, that works too. It's just a little more disruptive when you go to, if you have to put more sugar in or if you want to check the sugar. That's the only thing.
That's true.
The inner cover hole is nice because you're not opening up the hive and you don't have a whole 10 frames worth of bees trying to get at you. It's just a little inner cover hole with the bees looking at you, and you say, okay.
Okay. You're giving us sugar, so we'll be nice. Okay.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is more sugar, cool.
Okay, cool. All right, great.
And can you use fondant?
Yeah, you can. You can use fondant. I just find that fondant gets really messy when it gets warm, and I
have some.
It always sounds good. I mean, you put fondant on in the winter, it's cool, but then in the spring when you go in and it's all dripping down on everything, and it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. It's kind of messy.
Yeah. And
the bees seem to like it. They take it more readily, the fondant.
All right. And the sugar bricks, I posted a video on our YouTube page of making sugar bricks. And one version, I sort of double talked myself. I said 2 cups of sugar with 2 tablespoons of water. Then I was like, well, I think it was 2 teaspoons of water. Is there a firm rule to that?
I think it's
both of them worked out fine.
Yeah, it's not like a ton of water. You just don't want to add a lot of water. I mean, you want it to be as dry as possible when you make it.
So it's kind of like brown sugar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're pressing it into the container or whatever.
Exactly.
But don't use brown sugar.
No, don't use brown sugar.
Brown sugar consistency.
Yes, brown sugar consistency.
And do you add vinegar or
I don't add vinegar just because when in the spring I'll take the sugar bricks off and put them in a bucket, and then I can just use that to make syrup in the fall. So if it has vinegar, it doesn't make the best syrup.
Okay.
So that's my only
hesitation
with using vinegar. But it does make, the vinegar does lower the pH to make it more acidic, like honey.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole point of the vinegar. It makes it more honey-like pH-wise.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, the bees don't really care.
Okay. It's for us. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, Bryan. We'll post this on our YouTube page and everybody will have it for future reference. Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Okay.